I know what y'all saying. Y'all say, Torian, oh God, you doing another video on Nick Fuentes. Yes, I am. But this is it's kind of interestingly funny. So to give you a preface of what you're about to watch, someone has sent Nick Fuentes, I guess he was streaming somewhere and somebody donated to his streaming. You know, of course, like with YouTube, you have super chats where people can send you money and then they probably put a comment in there or maybe ask a question and something along those lines. Well, he was streaming somewhere. I'm not sure what platform he was streaming on. And someone sent him, I think, like $50. And in a question, it's a long question, but they basically were asking Nick Fuentes, why do you live in such a liberal area? For those who don't know, Nick Fuentes lives in like the Chicagoland area. I don't think he lives actually in Chicago, but he lives in like a suburb of Chicago, like in a surrounding area that's slightly outside of Chicago. And I want y'all to listen to the response he gives to the question, because it's actually very interesting, but it also is going to put something into perspective for me, not only about him, but also a lot of others who claim to be conservative.
Mother of Groipling sent $50. How do you tolerate living in such a liberal area? I live in Lombard and every year gets darker. Makes me and my husband want to move to our cabin in the Wye North Woods. But we'd be leaving jobs/families behind. So hard. Off topic. I'm a Berwyn-born Serb. Have you ever tried Serbian cevapi? So good. You should check out Skadarlia in Brookfield. Great food.
I don't tolerate it. I love it. I love living in a liberal area. I love living in a liberal area. I like it. I don't want to be in a conservative area where everybody's going to be carrying on, being all conservative. I like I like the alienation. You want to know why? Nobody, aside from the usual blacks, which is easily avoidable, nobody gives you a hard time. Nobody bothers you at all. You get in, get out of everything clean. People are rude. And, so you don't find yourself in like big, long conversations. Some of them don't even speak English. The less talking, the better. So I don't mind it. Maybe when I have a family, I'll want to live in a conservative area. But for a single guy, it's great. It's a little dangerous. The food's great. There's not a lot of carrying on. Like, what I like about it is there's just not a ton of rules. So you can kind of be a little bit of a jerk too. If you're in a conservative area, I'd be the biggest pariah in a conservative neighborhood. Because I'd be up all night, driving around at night, blasting my music, maybe being obnoxious, whatever. But when you're in a liberal area, it's like you're the most put together person there. So I don't know. I like it. I want to live in a cabin. I don't want to do all that. Skadarlia, I've heard of it. I've driven past it a million times, but maybe I'll go.
Really, you sent $50.
Okay, so you just heard that response that Nick Fuentes gave to someone who was asking him that question. And let's just address the first point, because I was almost going to stop it just to address that one part. But he just had to find a way to insert black people into his response. I'm like, okay, we get it, Nick. You don't like black people, but he didn't have, of course, he had to throw black people in there when he was talking about, him living in a liberal area. Everything is fine except for the times of running across the occasional blacks and everything like that. And I keep telling myself, Nick Fuentes does not run into black people like he claims he does. The only time he probably has interactions or see black people is when he's scrolling online on some social media site, so he can have something to come online and say about black people. But he just had to throw black people in there. Notice black people race wise was the only group that he actually mentioned by name, or rather by identity. He didn't mention any other group specifically by name except black people. I'm telling you, we live rent free in these people's heads. So that was the response right there. Nick said that he loves living in a liberal area. Basically, he's trying to say he doesn't want to live in a conservative area. He said those people are rude. And in a nutshell, he basically said it would be trash. He said he would be a pariah living in a conservative area. Like, these are his words. You actually heard him say that out of his own mouth. He said the environment could be a little bit better, but it's more free there. The food is better. So basically what he's saying is that he would be bored living in a conservative area. And the reason why I brought this clip up except for the obvious of him bringing up black people when he didn't even have to. But hey, this is Nick Fuentes we're talking about. I'm willing to bet there are a lot of other so-called conservatives, especially the ones that call themselves Christian conservatives, probably don't live in a conservative area. I bet you if you was to pull up the demographic for a lot of these conservatives, especially these white male conservatives, they do not live in the most conservative area. A lot of them probably do not, which is probably why a lot of them go and do these so-called tours, because they probably need to get out of the area. They probably don't like their environment. So I thought it was just very interesting that he actually just flat out said it. And the crazy part about it is when I was looking at the video, because I saw it on Twitter, I was looking in the comment section and people were saying a whole bunch of different things. And I'm like, Nick Fuentes has basically admitted to y'all, even before this video went out there, that he was a grifter, without him actually saying it. Now, there could have been a time when he probably did say it. I just didn't catch it, nor did I care. But he moves and operates just like one. But y'all eat it up because he says things about black people, or he says things about another particular group. And y'all know exactly what group I'm talking about. And y'all eat it up. And he turns right back around and he laughs like Muttley from Wacky Races while pocketing your money that you probably sent him. Or he relishes in the views and engagement that you give him because he says all the right things in your opinion. And he just literally said, and mind you, a lot of the people that give him support are the same conservatives he doesn't want to live around. He said he loves living in a liberal environment while spewing out quote unquote anti-liberal talking points. Now, a lot of people say make that make sense, but hey, it's a grifter. None of it's supposed to make sense. And to those of y'all who continue to support him, y'all are just about as dumb as he is. As a matter of fact, one would say he's a wicked genius. Well, I'm not gonna say most, but some grifters who actually know how to properly grift are wicked geniuses. And the people that fund them are just, well, let's just say a raisin might have a better IQ than they do. That's why I framed a question years ago. Well, not years ago, but maybe a couple years ago. Who's worse, the grifter or their supporter? And to this day, I still stand on the supporter being the worst, because y'all could literally shut them down, but you choose not to because they keep saying, whispering or blatantly yelling out sweet nothings to you, and you eat it up like it's the last meal you will ever digest. So yeah, Nick said that he loves living in a liberal environment. He loves living there. He said he could never live in a conservative environment. He said unless he was married. Now, we all know that this dude is pretty much a staunch and documented incel, so his odds of getting married are very, very slim, like rail thin to none. But he's bragging about him being a single guy, so him being single, and it works well for him to live in a liberal environment. He says if he would only go over to a conservative living space if he was married and had a family. But let's be real here. I highly doubt that Nick Fuentes is ever going to get married or even have children. And you know what? I think the world would be better off if that did not happen, considering the type of person he is. Can you imagine who would like be with him, let alone sleep and then procreate with him? Like, imagine, you know what? I don't even want to imagine that. I don't even want to imagine what a world of that would even look like. I don't even think he can imagine it. Maybe he can. I don't know. So he might be staying in them liberal quarters a little bit longer. I just wanted to come on here and talk about this because this is actually pretty hilarious. But y'all let me know what y'all think about it down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.